Hi greedy 3Ders. Enclosed Core XY printers are appearing thick and fast. They're as common as a YouTube thumbnail with someone gasping at nothing, and today we're deep diving into a head-to-head comparison between two impressive FDM 3D printers, the Elegoo Centauri Carbon and the Anycubic Kobra S1. We'll look at specs, prices, pros and cons, etc. and see if either of the enclosed Core XY machines are the ones you may be looking for. First, let's get acquainted with our two contenders. The Centauri Carbon is the latest release from Elegoo, a company well known for their reliable resin printers and now making a strong push into the FDM territory. This machine is packed with advanced features and aims to deliver pro-level performance at a very competitive price point. The Kobra S1 comes from Anycubic, a decade into 3D printing. Now this offering promises fast printer speeds, ease of use and is compatible with a heated AMS that brings it into bamboo level territory. Let battle commence. Let's firstly look at costs. The Elegoo Centauri Carbon, it's priced like a mid-range smartphone. You can literally grab it for 299 quid. That's sub £300 for a pro level 3D printer without the pro level price tag. An absolute bargain. Slightly more expensive, only just though, is the Kobra S1 without the AMS. That's their heated multicolour filament changing option that at the time of this comparison was the only one of the two machines that had this as an option for a separate purchase. Elegoo, I hear, may be planning similar, so watch this space. But back to the printer alone, and it's £50 more expensive than the Elegoo offering at £349. Is it worth the extra 50 quid? Well, let's continue the deep dive and maybe we'll find out. Let's start with how these machines look and feel. Now, the Elegoo Centauri Carbon sports a sleek, modern frame that features a sturdy all-metal die-cast design chassis with tempered glass door and lid. Its structural integrity minimises vibrations, which is great for achieving those crisp print details. The printer includes a direct drive extruder and a fully enclosed build chamber, which helps with temperature control and print quality, especially for those materials that are prone to warping. The build plate is magnetic and easily removable, with dual-sided rough and smooth surfaces for you to choose from. The Anycubic Kobra S1 also has a rigid metal frame, but this machine sports a plastic lid and body, which, although slightly lighter and I have to say cheaper feeling, does surprisingly well at sound reduction. This loss of weight makes it easier to move too, which is handy as you may be crawling around the back of the thing to change filament spools, but more on that later. It also has direct drive and the build plate is also magnetic and removable, but this one has a rough surface on both sides, so no smooth print surface to choose from out of the box. The enclosed environment helps control also with the temperature for more difficult filaments, and this has an activated carbon ventilation system, which is a great addition to help reduce those harmful fumes. When we come to the unboxing, there was no real surprises. Both the 3D printers arrived well packaged, well boxed, undamaged, with plenty of foam and cellophane to keep them well protected. There was no issues at all. Both came with accessories that were separately boxed, as you would imagine. The only thing I would say with the unboxing is probably don't try to lift the Anycubic Kobra S1 out on your own, especially if it's got the combo kit in there, because it was rather heavy, but no dramas at all with either of the unboxing of either printer. Next is the setup. To set up the Anycubic Kobra S1, there's quite a few Allen key screws to be removed, and depending on if you have the combo, the Ace Pro is internally shipped, so that would also need removing before you do anything else. You then install the poop chute, the carbon filter for odour control, a bit of obligatory cable tie snipping and cardboard removal as normal, and if you're not using the AMS, the single filament holder needs attaching on the back of the machine, which is a royal pain in the ass to access. The screen is thankfully already attached, which is nice, and the screen is foldable to flat, which I also like. When first powered on, you're prompted to connect your mobile phone on startup to add the printer to Anycubic's app, this was easy and hassle-free. Next, run the vibration test, auto leveling routine, and you are ready to play. The setup is fast, intuitive, and no surprises, and you're ready for your first print. I'm not going to talk about the setup of the Ace Pro in this video, as this is the most time-consuming part, but for the basic printer setup, which is what we're looking at today, we're pretty much done. The Centauri Carbon was also an easy setup, marred slightly as it comes covered in this sticky tape stuff that was a pain to remove, but thankfully the Allen screws that held the print bed still in transit, and there's only a couple of them, came off easily. The main screen was not attached, and I found it a tad fiddly. It's not really rocket science, just my fat fingers got in the way. The side mounted filament holder is a pleasure to see and easily attached next to the easy access runout sensor. Hooray for side mounting. Vibration tests and self-leveling were step by step on the UI, but took some time to complete, so perhaps a good time to have a coffee. Connect next to your network via the Wi-Fi, check for updates and install them if found, and you are pretty much done. Again, no real surprises. For the user interface, both machines have a 4.3-inch touchscreen, which I have to say, they seem fairly similar. The Elegoo Centauri Carbon's touchscreen interface is intuitive and tactile with easy-to-follow menus and submenus, and the printer supports Wi-Fi connectivity for remote monitoring and firmware updates. Indeed, both printers offer this as standard. The Anycubic Kobra S1 also has a colour touchscreen, auto bed levelling and maintenance prompts make it ideal for newcomers as it will guide you through all the processes. The menus on the S1, like the Centauri Carbon, are easy to follow, and to be honest, I don't rate either screen as better or worse than the other. They are both perfectly adequate and do the job wonderfully. When it comes to print volumes, the usual on the closed Core XY machines are 256mm cubed, and the Centauri Carbon offers this at no change at all. What's slightly concerning is that for some reason Anycubic's S1 has decided to offer only 250mm cubed. Now, it's only a 6mm cubed difference, but let's be honest, it is a smaller build volume than the Centauri Carbon. Will this make a difference to you? Will that 6mm change your life? Well, only you can answer that question, but I'm here to tell you that the S1's build volume is a little bit smaller than the Centauri Carbon's. Very, very strange. Let's talk slicers. Now, both the Elegoo and the Anycubic printers use Orca slicer, right? Well, not quite. They're Orca inspired, but each is tailored to its own brand's ecosystem. Elegoo's slicer is more of a plug and play, while Anycubic's version leans more slightly into the multicolour printing features. Neither offers the full flexibility or frequent updates of Orca slicer itself, which remains the most customisable and widely compatible option. If you're chasing speed, control and community tweaks, Orca Slicer is still the alpha, but if you want a streamlined experience with your Elegoo or your Anycubic printer, their branded slicers do the job, and do the job well, just with a few guardrails. But both of them, I'm happy to say, are working in a slicing environment that seems to be taking stage as the go-to slicer, regardless of what printer is being used. And in my opinion, this solidarity, dependent on your brand, is good news for all. Now for the tech heads amongst you who love to see a side-by-side comparison of stats and figures, here is that picture. As you can see, there's a couple of differences, but on the whole things are very similar. Let's just go through the differences quickly. We've mentioned the build volume of the Kobra S1 is a little bit smaller. We also note that the speed of the Kobra S1 is running up to 600mm per second, and it stated that the maximum speed for the Carbon is 500mm per second. Both have an acceleration speed of 20,000mm per second squared. Now, realistically, to get high detail in your prints, you're not going to be running at any kind of speed like that. You're going to be reducing it down. I suspect there's only a few times you're going to run it at anything like that. So the maximum speed of the S1, although it is faster from a quality perspective, you're going to reduce them both anyway. Both of them are fully enclosed, with only the S1 offering some kind of activated carbon filtration. both have internal cameras, so can do time lapse, and you can monitor your prints on the fly also. The S1 is a little bit heavier, no real groundbreakers there, but it is a little bit heavier, and everything else is pretty much the same. USB stick is facing on the Anycubic Kobra S1, spool holder side mounted on the Centauri Carbon and at the bloody rear, as already moaned about on the Kobra S1. The S1 also boasts spaghetti detection, belt tension monitoring and power loss resume function. Thankfully, the Centauri Carbon also has power loss resume function, and they both have filament run out sensors too. All in all, two very similar machines with just a couple of nuances between them. When it comes to print quality, from my experience, both of these machines have given me some very, very decent prints indeed. And if you ask me to choose between the two, if I'm going to be absolutely honest with you guys, I don't really think I can. I think both of them are producing prints wonderfully. Now, I've used the Centauri Carbon a lot more than the Anycubic S1, which is my latest printer. But the prints that I've given the S1 to do, be they of single colour or of multicolour, have all come out absolutely beautifully. I haven't changed settings, you know, there's always tweaking to be had and there's always finer details to be messed with. I haven't done any of that. I've just used the basic slicer settings and the machines have not let me down. The Elegoo Centauri Carbon I've used an awful lot more. In fact, I've made a couple of Star Wars droids completely using this printer, and I'll put some pictures up here so you can have a look at K2SO and also the pit droid. And again, they've been consistent, they've been reliable, all printed in PLA. The only other thing I've used on the Elegoo Centauri Carbon was a little bit of ABS, and I didn't get much luck with ABS, but I've never had much luck with ABS with anything, to be honest. So I'm not going to hold that against the printer. That's probably just me and my settings and the environment I'm printing in. But from a PLA Plus perspective on both these machines, no dramas, absolutely fine. The quality of each is fine. So my final view on the print quality for both of these, I'm not going to choose one between them because they've both done a wonderful job on anything that I've thrown at them in a material that I like to use, that I'm comfortable using, which is PLA and PLA Plus. For more elaborate materials, I haven't really tried them on this, so you might need to do a little bit more homework on that. But for the basic ones, yeah, no problem with either of these printers' quality. Although we're only really comparing the two printers, we have to look at multicolour printing. And if we do, there's only one clear winner here, and that is the Anycubic S1. The S1 is compatible with the Ace Pro. This is the multicolour printing solution from Anycubic, and it's a device that allows you to put 4 different filaments in, expandable to 8 if you run 2 Ace Pros in parallel. Not only does it allow you to print between 4 colours, it also allows you to heat your filament and dry it out, which is an absolute godsend, especially somebody like me who's printing outside in the man cave. This, if you use their own spools as well as RFID, it will locate the colour automatically, and colouring it in on the actual slicer is a dream. This will take the water vapour out of your S1's filaments as well. It's easy to load. It's a great bit of kit. It's an absolute wonderful add-on. At time of review, the Elegoo Centauri Carbon does not have a compatible colour changing AMS system, but there is some hope. At the back of the machine there is a poop chute, which leads me to think that in the future they may be thinking about creating something that allows colour changing on the Elegoo Centauri Carbon. Indeed, if you read through some of the internet and dig deep, you will see conversations and rumours of such a device. Some Elegoo Centauri Carbons, I hear, have an AMS port on the back, but mine certainly does not. So I'm not sure if that is just rumour mill or whether that's fact, but I would believe that most companies tend to follow suit at some point or other. So at some stage, the AMS unit or a compatible heated multi-changeable unit, I would envision be compatible with it, but not yet. So just for this review only, the Kobra S1 is the only multi-colour heating filament device that is available. There's nothing on the Centauri Carbon as of September 2025. So if you're watching this video, I would assume that to some degree or other you sat on the fence about which of the 3D printers, if either, to buy, and I hope this gives you a little bit of insight into that. It's a genuine review. There's the two machines that I spoke about today in the video. The Centauri Carbon I've had a little bit longer than the S1. I've only recently had this one, so to be fair, for the Anycubic version of their machine, I've only been playing with it for a shorter amount of time, but so far I have been very impressed with what it does. Again, for clarity, the Carbon I bought, that was bought with my own money, wasn't sent to me at all by Elegoo, but Anycubic did send me the S1 to review for them, and I'll put links to my reviews in the video at the end anyway, but there's no bias here. I'm going to tell you, you've seen exactly what I think. If it wasn't for the Ace Pro on the Anycubic machine, I would have no qualms in saying that the Elegoo is the cheaper printer and has done as good a job as the Anycubic. I'm not going to say it's better, because I don't think that's fair to say that, because I haven't given the Anycubic the runtime that I've given the Elegoo Carbon. But in the time that I've given both of these machines a little bit of a going over, they've both served me really, really well, and I wouldn't have any hesitation in recommending either of them. If the Elegoo did the Ace Pro as well, I would be one happy bunny, and I would be sitting here saying that the two of them are on par. The fact that the Ace Pro, this little gadget up here that comes with the Anycubic S1 that allows either 4 and 8 colour printing if you've got two of them, is compatible with it, at the moment in September 25, gives the Anycubic the advantage without a shadow of a doubt, unfortunately. But if you're looking at just single colour printing, then there's nothing in the two of them. In fact, the Centauri Carbon at 300 quid, which is 50 quid cheaper, is probably your best option. I quite like the glass doors on the Elegoo. I feel that the Elegoo feels like it's been made better, whereas the S1 feels a bit cheap. Having said that, they're both very quiet to run. 44 decibels, I think. 44 to 50 decibels is around about the target range they're both sitting. And I've had them running while I've been talking to you guys in the background on other videos, and you haven't heard them going. So I don't think there's any major drama there. I'm not going to tell you which one you should buy. That's down to you guys to make that decision. And what you're doing now, I suggest, is gathering evidence as to which one to buy. And I hope this video helps you and you find it useful. If I was looking for a printer, I'd look at the reviews, of course I would, but I'd also be looking at the comments. So if you've got a thought on either the Elegoo Carbon or the S1, if you've had good or bad experience with them, please leave it down below in the comments, because users will pick that up, will have a read, and rather than just my opinion, which is, you know what they say about opinions, everybody will put a comment down below, and we can make a good judgment based on other people's experience. But at the end of the day, you do your homework, you find out which one you want to buy, and you jump in the deep end a little bit. But if you do your homework, it makes the water just that little bit shallow, I would hope. Hope you've enjoyed that today. Please think about subscribing to the channel. Please think about joining the Greedy 3D Patreon. Please leave me a comment, that's really important. Let me know what you think about these two machines, and I will see you next time for more 3D madness on Greedy 3D. Thank you for watching.